friends, Mr. Bell here, just to explain what we will be doing in our topic for this half term. So our new topic is I Am Warrior, all about the Romans, and we'll be exploring the Romans in terms of their invasion of Britain. So what we'll be looking at is, first of all, we'll be looking at the chronology of this. So we'll be looking about when the Romans first invaded, whether they were successful the first time, on how many times it took them to actually invade Britain. We'll also look at some of the key events, including some of the rebellions and some of the other kind of important landmark events of Roman Britain, up until the point when the Romans left. We'll also be looking at the question of what did the Romans do for us, in terms of there were some really important kind of inventions and cultural effects of the Romans being in Britain that still have effects to today. We'll also explore some of the landmarks that I talked about earlier, including Hadrian's Wall, which is still somewhere you can go and visit and have a look at and see the impact of Roman even on modern times. We'll also be doing a little bit of geography, so we'll be comparing and contrasting modern day Italy with obviously the UK and seeing what are the kind of the human geography and population that's kind of linked between the two of them. And we'll also be studying the physical geography and thinking, actually, you know, is there similarities or what differences can we find? What would be really useful is if as a bit of homework on Seesaw, if you could maybe do a bit of research around something to do with Roman Britain. It may be that you want to investigate the Roman military and how they did the invasion. You may choose one of the Roman cities that were created, including London, which was called a slightly different thing back in Roman times, but actually it was first established by the Romans, or some of the other physical or human geography bits. Thank you. Hello good friends, Mr. Bell here, just to explain what we are going to be doing in our maths going forward with Autumn 2. So, in maths this half term, we have already done a little bit of work around area. So we've explored the kind of the concept of area and also begun the real basics of just counting squares in order to find the area of objects. Now, going forward, we are going to be moving into multiplication and division. And for this half term up until Christmas, we are going to be really focusing heavily on our times tables. So we'll have a bit of a recap on some of those times tables you will have looked at over the last few years, and we'll build on top of that with some of those ones that people may find a little bit more tricky, which we will look at in a bit more detail in year 4. Hopefully by Christmas then, we will have explored all of the times tables up to 12, and we should then be able to practice them as we go forward towards the end of the year with obviously the National Times Table test. To really help us out, I'd love to see children who are filling in their times table sheets on Seesaw and having a go at doing times tables on our TT Rockstar website. Now, what I will say is that it's more beneficial if they're doing 5 to 10 minutes each day than doing it in one big chunk on maybe a Sunday. It doesn't have to be a long time. I've had students from last year who used to do it before they brush their teeth when they go to bed. Some people used to do it as they were having their cereal in the morning. It doesn't have to be a big deal. I even had one student who, when he was playing Xbox, would do some TT Rockstars in between his FIFA games. Any way you want to fit it in is great, but a little and often will make those times tables on and mean they're really strong. Some of the concepts we'll look at with times tables is obviously this idea actually that if 3 times 7, we might think that's in the 7 times table, and a lot of people struggle with that. But actually, we could look at that and say, actually, that is the same as saying 7 times 3. And actually, 3 times tables are usually stronger, and hopefully, we'll be able to use those to get to 21. Either way round is fine, but it's understanding that concept that actually it doesn't matter which way round the numbers go in a multiplication. We'll also be exploring some of the basics of multiplication in terms of the fact that if we multiply something by 1, that it stays as itself. And also the idea that actually if we multiply by 0, for example 9 times 0, it'll become 0. Anything multiplied by 0 will turn into 0. Anything multiplied by 1 will stay as the same number. So if it's 12 times 1, it's 12. If it's 9 times 1, it'll be 9. That is kind of our focus going up to Christmas. I hope we do lots of work on TT Rockstars. Thank you.
Hi everyone, so in Year 4 this term we will be basing all our English lessons off of our topic, which is the Romans, Our book this term is Thieves of Ostia, which is a mystery story about some children in ancient Rome. We will be inspired by this book in our writing, so we're going to be writing stories and fact files and diary entries and menus and letters and all sorts of lovely things. We'll be building on all of the grammar that we were introduced to in Autumn 1, but we'll also be introducing direct speech. So direct speech is to show someone speaking. We use these marks here. We always start with a capital letter when someone is speaking, and we keep all the speech inside these two marks. We then use a capital letter for the instruction, have I said it, and a capital letter for names. Same here, but we make sure if there's any punctuation that we're using is kept inside of our speech marks. For a bit of a challenge for you lot in year 4, I would like you to think about, if you were a Roman soldier, how would you feel on the battlefield and how would you feel invading a different country? I'd like you to write me some emotions, some lovely adjectives to describe how you would feel.